Yeah, I bought more books. I'm not even sorry. So, yeah, it's time for another book haul. I am not sorry, but I do have quite a lot of books to talk to you about. I have tried to divide them into genres, and I'll do the little chaptery thing. So if you don't care about a particular genre, you can skip ahead. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of books to talk to you about, so let's just crack on, shall we? So I'm going to start with non-fiction. I'm just pulling my non-fiction pile over. Okay, so the first book that I have to talk to you about is The Roles We Play by Saaba Khan. So this has been shortlisted for the Jalak Prize, so I will be reading it this month and doing a Jalak Prize rankings video for you before the winner is announced on the 26th. But yeah, this one is a non-fiction graphic memoir, and this is about the life of a second generation British Pakistani woman and what that is like for her, what it's like to be a second generation immigrant and sort of have those two cultures, the British culture and the Pakistani culture, and finding out where you fit and that sort of thing. It sounds really fantastic. I do really enjoy graphic memoirs, so I am really hyped to get to this one. The next one I picked up at a library sale, so I got this for like 20p, and that is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I don't think I really need to say too much about this. It's Michelle Obama's autobiography. I've heard nothing but good things. I didn't realise, but before I picked it up, but it's got like photos in the middle as well, which I think is fab. I may still audiobook this because I've heard the audiobook, which is narrated by Obama, is really, really good. So yeah, I couldn't walk past it in a library sale at that price. The next one I have is a Shelterbox Book Club pick. So I subscribe to Shelterbox Book Club, and every 6 weeks I get a new book. You get to vote on it. I'll leave their website below if anyone's interested. I'm not sponsored or anything. I do pay. But that is We Are Displaced by Malala Yousafza, who wrote the book I Am Malala. And this is a collection of sort of short stories, but the strapline is My Journey and Stories from Refugee Girls from Around the World. So it's exploring what it is to be a refugee and what that looks like for different people. Beautiful cover, and yeah, very much looking forward to getting to this one at some point in the not too distant future. And then the last non-fiction I have is Brown Baby by Nikesh Shukla. This was very kindly gifted to me by Charlie, one of my lovely subscribers, so thanks Charlie. And this is a book that Nikesh wrote for his daughters about what it is to be a father, feminism, raising brown babies and what that means, and the political landscape and all that sort of thing. It sounds fantastic, and as a mother I'm very keen to read sort of a father's perspective on how he raised his children and the challenges that he came across, especially with obviously the racial element involved. So yeah, I've heard good things and very keen to pick this one up. The next one is not very like me, so this is my one and only thriller in my big pile. So that is Force of Nature by Jane Harper. Now, I've heard nothing but good things about Jane Harper, and this one follows a group of 5 office workers who go off sort of on a trek, and only 4 of them return. That's all I know. That's all I really needed to know. I picked this up at a little free library, so I didn't pay anything for it. And I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to push out of my comfort zone a little bit and read a bit of thrillery stuff. So yeah, that one. Okay, let's move to historical fiction next. So the first book I picked up was Alison Weir's Katherine of Aragon, The True Queen, which if you've been following me for a while, you'll know I am doing a read along of this along with the lovely Emily at Novell Novels and Danny at Danny's Book World, and we are reading this book in the months of May and June. I haven't started it yet, but I will be picking it up next week. And as the title would suggest, this follows the reign of Katherine of Aragon, how she became queen and how she became not queen. So yeah, really excited to pick this up, and the Voxer group that we have going for this, there's still time to join if you want to, let me know. Are already making me even more hyped for this than I already was. So yeah, pick that one up. The next book was entirely 100% the fault of Alice, from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, and also partly the fault of my 2-year-old. So that book is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. This is sort of, I think, a set over multiple timelines, and it's to do with the siege of Constantinople. I don't know too much about that. It features a library, and Alice absolutely raved about this. This is like one of her favourite books of the year. It's like prominently featured on her bookshelf in all of her videos now because she loved it so much. So I picked it up, and I went into the bookshop and I gave Charlie a choice, and he wanted the one with the cloud on. So yeah, so mostly Alice's fault, partly Charlie's fault. The next one is a book that I got for Mother's Day, and that is Devotion by Hannah Kent. So Hannah Kent is the author of Burial Rites, which I also have on my shelf downstairs and haven't read, but I have an inkling that I'm going to really gel with this author. And in this one we follow a young girl, Hannah, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, who lives in a small community in Prussia, and they are under quite a lot of pressure to leave, and an opportunity arises for them to board a ship to Australia, and they do, but things don't go quite so well on the ship, I think is basically the premise. But I have heard really good praise for this already, and it only came out in January, and the cover is stunning. So yeah, this is 1836 that this takes place. So yeah, really excited to get to this one. The next two are also sort of the fault of Alice. So you may be aware, but I recently hosted a Pachinko read along, and on that group Alice found a list of books to read if you liked Pachinko, and I bought 2 from that list. The first one is White Chrysanthemum by Mary Lynch Bracht, and this is split timeline, and we are in Korea in 1943 and then South Korea 2011, and it is about a girl living in Korea under Japanese occupation, and I guess what happens between that time and the modern timeline 2011. I'm really interested to know more about that time period. I've read a few books about that now, and would like to continue my understanding of it, and this sounded like the perfect one to do that job. So yeah, we'll give this one a go. And the other one that was on that list that I picked up was In the Time of Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This is set in the 1960s in the Dominican Republic, and we follow 4 sisters, and the blurb says that at the beginning you find a wrecked jeep, 3 of the sisters are dead, and 1 is never spoken about, and these sisters were openly opposed to the dictatorship in the country at that time, and we sort of unravel from there. I know absolutely nothing about this period of history in the Dominican Republic, and so, as you know, I like to broaden my knowledge on any historical events, so this one certainly fits that bill. Let's move to classics next. So the first one I picked up, and I'm already halfway through, is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I am reading this at the moment with the lovely Jennifer at Jennifer Loves Books and Becky at Teacup the Storyteller, and this is a reread for me. I actually thought my dad had a copy, but then he couldn't find it, so I bought myself one because I know I like this book. It is a tiddler. It's literally like just over 100 pages, and I'm already halfway through. I'll be finished this probably by the time this video goes up. And in this we follow George and Lenny, set in California in the Dust Bowl era, and they are looking for work on a ranch. Lenny has some sort of learning difficulties. He presents a lot younger than he is, and George really looks after him. And we follow them as they start work at a new ranch and what happens there. And yeah, I am, like I say, halfway through and absolutely loving this reread. So yeah. So the next one I picked up at a charity shop in London, and that's The World That Was Ours by Hilda Bernstein. This is a Persephone classic, and I've been meaning to get my hands on one of these for a while, but I wasn't sure which one to go for, and I saw this one on the shelf and I read the blurb and I thought it sounded fantastic, so I picked it up. So this is set in Johannesburg, and all the blurb says is that you've got a woman in the kitchen and her husband is calling her to get ready to go out, and then suddenly he says, go out the back now. And she leaves and she sees people entering her house from the front and back, and she knows she'll never go back. So I literally know nothing else about it. I don't know when it's set. I don't know anything, but that short blurb made me pick it up. So I'm really excited to get to this one really, really soon. I have one fantasy only, and that is the Earthsea Quartet by Ursula K. Le Guin. So I had a not great experience with Ursula Le Guin earlier this year when I read The Left Hand of Darkness and DNF'd it, but I still want to try her again because I really liked her concepts. I just didn't like the writing style in that, and that was very much on the sci-fi end. So I thought I'd go the other way and try a more fantasy style and see what this is like. I did pick this up in a charity shop for £1.75. Yeah, I really know very little about this. I think it features dragons. There are 4 books included in this. I think there are 2 more after this. But yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I will feed back when I know more. But at the moment, all I know is it's fantasy and it has dragons in. Okay, next we're going to go for middle grade. So I usually don't have loads of middle grade, but I've been getting into it a bit more. So the first one I want to talk to you about is The Last Bear by Hannah Gold. This won the Waterstones Children's Book, I need to take the stickers off, prize this year, and has just been like raved about everywhere. Jack over at Spread Bookjoy did a fantastic review of this, and I will leave that video linked for you below. And in this we follow a little girl, and I think she is the daughter of a single parent. Her father, who works in the Arctic, and takes her there when he's doing some work. I think it covers like loneliness and grief, and I think there's some climate changey stuff in, and she befriends the last bear. So yeah, this also has some beautiful illustrations in it. I can show you. So yeah, I may read this to Sam. I may just read it to myself because it's so pretty and it sounds so good. So yeah, pick that one up. The next one I picked up was Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. If you've been here a while, you'll know that I'm reading this series with my 9-year-old Sam, and it has a bookmarking because we've literally just started it. We're just like 20 pages in. This is the 3rd in the Nevermore series, following Morrigan Crow, who was a cursed child, cursed to die on her 11th birthday, 13th birthday, something like that, but gets whisked away to the magical land of Nevermore by Jupiter North, and discovers that maybe she isn't as ordinary as she thinks she is. And yeah, we finished the 2nd in this series last week and have immediately picked up this one. Next was another one that I found in a library sale, and I'll not lie, I picked it up just based on the cover and the title. I know nothing about it. It's called The Wild Folk by Sylvia V. Lindstedt. I haven't taken the plastic off yet. I will do, but not right now. And I think this is just a sort of standard quest story. You've got one child from the city, one child from the country. They sort of get thrown together and end up on this magical quest, which is lovely. So yeah, this one is also now in my collection. Then I have one that Sam picked out last time we went to the bookshop. Obviously we are reading Nevermore at the moment, but the next one that he wants to pick up is Skandar and the Unicorn Thief by A.F. Stedman. So this has had a lot of marketing come into my inbox from Waterstones as like the next big kids fantasy book. I know literally nothing about it. Sam picked it up based on the cover. The back says, like the eye of a shadowy storm, black smoke swirled around the fearsome unicorns. Thunder rumbled in their wake, and bolts of lightning hit the earth far below. Soar into a world of heroes and unicorns as you've never seen them before. Sounds great. Great front cover. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to reading that with Sam, and I think this is the beginning of a new series. And the last one, I don't know if you count it as middle grade or like younger YA, but that is Bitter by Akwaeke Emeze. So this is sort of a follow-up or a companion to her first middle grade novel, Pet, which I haven't read yet, but this was in a charity shop for £1.75. And look, the spine is not even broken. I could not walk past it. I was like, oh my God, because this only came out in March. So yeah, and it's just stunning. Look at that cover with like the gold on. So yeah, this is now in my collection. So I need to get to Pet and then get to this. And I'm very excited to do that. Okay, and now we've got sort of general fiction, literary fiction, anything that doesn't fit into my other buckets, basically. So I will start with another Shelter Box book club book, and that is Sweet Bean Paste by Jurian Sakagawa. This is translated from the Japanese, and I have heard excellent things about this. And I think it's a sort of a young boy and an older lady, and he's been in trouble and is struggling to find a job, and then she gives him a job in her sweet bean paste shop, confectionery shop, and it's sort of like the relationship between the younger generation and the older generation. It's just supposed to be very, very heartwarming, and yeah, I can't wait to get to it. I think I may save this for Women in Translation month in August, but yeah, really excited. Next up, we have another one that I have actually already started, and that is Keeping the House by Tish Sin. This is another shortlisted book for the Jalak Prize, and is a multi-generational story set in London about a family who are involved in the cocaine industry. Intriguing. I have started it. I'll say no more. We'll talk about this when we talk about the Jalak Prize. Next up, we have another two books that were gifted to me for Mother's Day. 3 kids, 3 books. And that is How Beautiful We Were by Mbole Mboe. I'm so excited for this book. This is set in Africa, and I think it's in a fictionalised town, and it's told by the children, I think, about the impacts of the oil industry sort of coming in and taking over the village. So yeah, I cannot wait to get to this one. Next up, I have The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. This is about a woman who makes a mistake with her daughter. I think she leaves her somewhere, or I can't quite remember, but she has to go to like a reform school for mothers and prove her love for her child and that she can be a good mother and all those sorts of things. So as a mother who has made many mistakes in the child rearing process, this really intrigues me. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to be buddy reading this with Charlie at the end of the year. So very excited. And yeah, we'll get to this later this year. Next up, I bit the bullet and I bought Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. This is the last book on the Women's Prize shortlist that I have to read. I'm halfway through Great Circle at the moment. And this is about a woman who's suffering from an undiagnosed mental health issue problem, and what that means for her and her husband, and sort of that's all I really know. But Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot raved about this, so I thought I'd just buy it because I'm trusting you, Scott, to have my back on this. Otherwise, yeah. But yeah, really looking forward to getting to it. Again, I will get to this one very soon because I want to have the whole shortlist read before the announcement in the middle of June. And then the last one was a bit of a random pick, and I'll be honest, I'd put it in my basket because I was interested in it and I didn't want to forget, and then I ordered some stuff and forgot to take it out, so it just arrived, and that is Wahala by Nikki May. I heard Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl talking about this and it sounded really interesting. It's set in London and we follow I think it's 4 mixed race girls, and it's sort of Nigerian Sex in the City is what I've heard it described as. I think that's what Jolene called it, and I was like, that sounds like so much fun. So yeah, I picked it up. We'll see what it's like. And that is all the books. That is all the books. That is a lot of books. I'm looking at them now thinking, how the hell am I going to do a thumbnail? But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, what you think. If you want to see how little self-control I have when it comes to buying books, you can see my winter book haul or my autumn book haul there and there. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye.